guys, what's up? My name is Anita and I'm a mindset coach. And how you all doing? Today I wanted to start off by asking you something. Do you watch Netflix? I'm sure unless you're like a very anti-television person, you probably do check out Netflix, right? So there's this show called Indian Matchmaking, and there's this lady, the character called Sima Aunty, which is becoming extremely popular. Although I don't know if it's entirely for the right reasons. Now, what's the connection between Sima Aunty and NLP? Because yeah, that's what I keep talking about on Thursdays when you visit my channel. You're visiting me for the first time? Well, please hit the subscribe button before you forget, and do click on the notifications so that you keep checking out as and when I post my videos, which is at least once a week. Coming back to the matter at hand. So what does Sima Aunty do in this series? So what Sima Aunty does is basically she tries to do matchmaking. Now in India, of course, because it's families which get married and not just the two individuals, there's a whole process which goes into setting up a marriage, right? And I was thinking, okay, how does it translate into what I was reading through recently on NLP? So here's what happened. Here's what I felt. So there's a subject called filters, which I'm exploring currently, and in that there is a section called match and mismatch. Okay, and it was so fascinating to see how this part was playing out in Sima Aunty's series, because what she tries to do is she tries to match a lot of personality traits or a lot of things after checking out the profile of the bride and the groom. Okay, and then at the same time she also tries to see where does it need to be mismatched. Example, if she feels like one partner is a little too aggressive or snooty or too much of a go-getter, then she tries to see if she gets a partner who's not like that, or maybe who has like a lot of patience, so that they be like a very good match. Interestingly, matching and mismatching is one of the filters that all of us operate with. Now, what does it really mean? It means that whenever we look for something similar with others, it's called matching. Okay, and whenever we are able to notice or we tend to spot what is different, that's called mismatching. So, Sue takes a very nice example. Sue Knight, whose book NLP at Work is what I'm studying currently. She talks about how it's not about right or wrong, good or bad, but it's about if by matching am I getting what I want, or if by mismatching am I getting what I want, right? So the example that she takes is how there are certain professions where if you mismatch, or if you match, it would be fantastic. Like an example of mismatch would be where, let's say I'm a finance person and you're submitting a bill of accounts, right? So I look for, okay, why is it not balancing out, or why is the asset and the liability, or the left hand section and the right hand section not tallying. Now similarly, like let's say I'm into software or IT, and then you're into development and I'm into testing. So because I'm in testing, my job will be to look for bugs, right? So look for something that is not mismatching. That is mismatching rather. So it's not about whether matching is the right thing simply because it sounds better, or it's not like mismatching is the way to go, because it's all about what am I trying to accomplish here, right? So the same way, if you see in conversations, if you're able to spot that there will always be these people where if you start the conversation with something, and the way they will tend to respond is yes but, and it can become like a tennis match of words, tennis match of thoughts and ideas, and it can get really tiring. So yes, next time when you are having a conversation or dealing with people, see what is a better strategy. Is it matching or is it mismatching? So that's one filter for you. So next time you're having a conversation with somebody, just keep an eye, see how is it working out for you. On that note, just to do a very quick recap of all the filters we've covered so far, do check out my previous episodes on this and some other concepts that I've completed. So we've done associated, disassociated, and then we've done problem state, desired state, and now we've done match and mismatch. Today I'm going to take up another filter, which is internal reference, external reference, right? Now internal reference, external reference, as the name suggests, Internal is when let's say it's a lot about, say, me, like whatever I say, however I express myself, or the way I tend to function. Maybe I'm not looking for validation from anybody. Maybe it's just about how am I feeling about a certain situation, or what am I thinking about a certain situation. So whenever we tend to communicate in that way, or whenever we tend to communicate keeping only ourselves as the focus, it's called as being internal referenced. Now again, remember, not about good or bad, right or wrong. Sometimes it helps to be internally referenced. Example, like let's say the Prime Minister of our country, or for that matter, the leaders worldwide who are trying to grapple with this whole COVID situation. How would it be if they were to be externally referenced? Which means, how would it be if they were to be constantly looking at how others are being okay with it or not? Then they would just not be able to do anything, right? So similarly, even in businesses, it's quite helpful when leaders tend to be internally referenced, although because that allows them to take tough decisions, to do whatever it takes to move the business forward. Whereas the same thing, if let us say it is externally referenced, then it's something where I'm constantly looking for validation from others. I'm looking at approval from others. I'm looking at the way it is coming across to the other person. Of course, when let us say I'm doing something like a coaching, or when anybody has to interact with someone and it requires empathy, understanding, then of course it requires you to be externally referenced, right? Like in fact, what comes to my mind right now while I'm talking is how doctors, can exhibit both in the same at the same time while dealing with a patient. Like for example, when they want to be internally referenced and just not externally referenced, they'll say, oh no, nothing is going to happen, this medicine is not going to pain at all, just get it done. Okay, I know it's the best thing for you. So they're being internally referenced. Whereas if let's say they want to be externally referenced, then they will say, you know what, you're going to find so much of relief if you were to take this medicine or try this medicine out. So I know best, vis-a-vis, it's going to be very helpful to you. Internal reference, external reference. So the next time when you're dealing with situations in your life, or having conversations with people like your team, like your personal family members, friends even, see what reference are they tending to operate with. What filter are they operating from? Is it internal? Is it external? And how's that working for you? So on that note, today so far we have covered two filters. One is your mismatch and mismatch, and secondly is internal reference, external reference. I'll cover one more filter today. This is an interesting filter, okay? It's called big chunk, small chunk, okay? Now, big chunk is, like recently there was this person who was was talking about, the situation, how people are dealing with lockdown, etc., how governments are doing. And I was with this group of people, and one person said, oh, the government is so useless. Okay, now that's a big chunk. Okay, or let's say when somebody says, I love food, it's a big chunk. Or let's say, I want to be married to a great human being, it's a big chunk. Whereas there was another person in the conversation where I heard something like, I don't know about the government, but the municipal corporator of the third block, he's a kick-ass guy. The way he goes about organizing the testing drives, or the quarantine checking, etc., he's really a great leader for us to have. Next time also, I'm going to go ahead and vote for this guy. Or similarly, rather than say I'm a foodie, let's say you say, I love, ABC dish. Okay. So big chunk is whenever you're referring to something which is way more broader. Small chunk is when you keep chunking it down, right? Now again, Sue has a very beautiful example that she takes. She says, like, let's say you and someone else were to be in a bakery class, and both of you want, let us say, an orange. Now, you realize that there's only one orange. Now, if we were to go by traditional way of thinking, and what would happen is, you might probably decide, oh, how can I really share one orange? Because I also need it, you also need it, right? Whereas, if you were to dig a little deeper, chunk it down a little bit, and check with each other what is it that you really need the orange for. You might discover that while you need for a cake, the other person probably needs it for a souffle, which means while you need probably just the outer peel for the rind to be put into the cake mix, the other person needs the pulp. So what started off as just one orange, and I don't know if both of us can use it, and which then translated to, okay, no, both of us can do something with it. This is how it benefits when we observe, is it a healthy thing to operate at a certain time with a big chunk or a small chunk. In fact, Sue goes on to say, and I 100% agree, this ability to chunk up or chunk down is something that negotiators use a lot, and it's a brilliant skill to develop apparently. So, I know I'm going to try this a lot in my life. How about you guys? Do you want to try? Next time, observe for all these filters when you're talking to people. And remember the core reason why all of us are doing this, right? We're trying to see, are we at any given point of time achieving the desired outcome that we need? Yeah. So keep watching. I'll come back to you with more thoughts on filters at the moment. A lot of my clients have really found value in when I share these things during my coaching sessions. Or rather, I don't share them. I use them when I do my coaching sessions, and they've done tremendously well for themselves. So if you want to know how to do that with me as well, then do get in touch with me on any of the contact details that's there, either in my description or on my video, and I would love to help you with by getting on a discovery call. So on that note, thank you for watching. Keep watching Slate with Anita. Bye.